It's a new era here in the little circus. Hi, I'm Mr. Edge, right here with the Venardos Circus. I've been with the show, I'm in my 5th year.
My name is Douglas Ramos. I am 6th generation circus performer. I was born and raised in the circus with my family. We used to own our own circus.
Let's do it.
Most people think the circus just shows up, but what you're about to see isn't magic. It's logistics, timing, and a whole lot of passion.
The heart and soul. We don't have a circus without a fleet. And it was one of the things that I really loved about this show is how wonderfully our proprietor, Mr. Kevin Venardos himself, he invested in this fleet along the way. Each time that he had an opportunity, he upgraded it because we have to be there on time. The show must go on.
In this world, fleet isn't background support. It's the heartbeat. Without the trucks, there is no tent. No lights, and no show.
Across the 2 units, I would have to say there's probably 6 major vehicles, 3 on each, and then there's a whole bunch of personal vehicles. But we can move the show with a concessions truck and an 18-wheeler box truck and a giant flatbed.
This is the first year that both units are on tour. One of them started in February, and the other one just maybe like 2 weeks later. We have one giant flatbed truck which carries most of the tent and all the heavy equipment. Then we have another semi-trailer which carries all the boxes, all the lighting, sound, everything that goes into boxes goes into that semi-truck, like a dry van trailer. Then we have the concessions truck, so we're looking at 3. Then we have these bunkhouses where the performers live. Right here on this one we only have 1, and in the other unit there's actually 2 for the performers.
This isn't one truck hopping from town to town. It's 2 touring units crossing the country, hitting 45 cities a year, all on a schedule that doesn't bend.
One is in the East Coast and one's in the West Coast.
As soon as we hit the ground, we put that on one truck so that we can arrive. We drive that truck with our own rig, and we get that here so that we know that when we arrive on site, we can get a certain amount of work done, regardless of the truck that we hire to bring the big 18-wheeler behind us.
And if you think moving day means just packing up and heading out, think again.
We always have a show on moving day. So let's say it's a Sunday. We could have as many as 3 shows on that day, sometimes only 2. So what we do is we finish that last show, we got about a half an hour to eat, and then we all report. And we can take the entire big top down in about 4 hours, and then another 2 hours after that for the roustabouts and the crew to strap it down and get it ready for the road. We can get everything disassembled, put in the boxes, loaded back up, but then there's a little bit of to get it roadworthy when they want to go down and through the straps. So they cut a lot of the talent, the artists, and the roustabouts take over, and they make that safe to go down the road. But we can get this thing down in about when we're really hitting on all cylinders, we can break the 4-hour mark. We get a half an hour to change our clothes and grab a bite to eat. But we are ordinarily under ordinary circumstances. We're going to close on a Sunday. We're going to leave on a Monday and get to the next town. On that Monday, they'll usually put up the steel. We call that flying the steel. So they'll get all the stakes in, they'll get the towers up, they'll get all the stuff ready so that we can attach the big top. And then on the Tuesday, usually around 9 o'clock, we all get called out and we put the rest of it together. Now we can put it together. We're usually done by about 2:30, 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? Depending again on all the circumstances. That's Tuesday. And then if we really boogie, we get it all done. That means we have a Wednesday off, and we usually open on a Thursday. If you are employed and you are boots on the ground, you are working on load in and you are working on load out. No exceptions.
Titles don't matter here. If you're part of the circus, you're part of the crew.
Everybody's got to pitch in, otherwise we don't get down the road. It's a small group, but it's a powerful group.
So fleet doesn't just move the circus. In some cases, it creates the experience.
This is our concessions truck. So this is the truck that carries all of our concessions gear. When you go into the show, we pack this thing right to the back with all of the stuff that the popcorn machines, the lemonade machines, the coolers, and everything. And then plus it's fitted out to be a cotton candy factory. So we can get in there right now. It's got 2 big heavy-duty air conditioners in there and a nice big freezer, and we can make cotton candy 24/7. Because when you start getting into 6-pack weekends, the concessions crew has got to make an enormous amount of cotton candy before the guests even get here, so that we're set and ready. Because we're not going to sit there and make each one like it's fair. You know, we gotta turn it around in the circus. You know, we invite the guests in for their experience. You know, there was times when we couldn't afford the air conditioner back there, and people just had to gut it out and make that cotton candy anyway. But it's a new era here in the little circus, they could. And it's great. I think that it really helps the team's morale when you're not losing 10 pounds to make 200 bags of cotton candy. You know what I mean?
Everything's industrial here. The cotton candy machines, the sinks, the refrigerator. Up in the back we have like what's cold storage to keep everything nice and clean and stored there. We have to find a way to keep everything connected 24 hours because of the refrigerators.
Even the smallest details have to evolve, because when you're feeding thousands of guests on the road, there's no room for shortcuts.
Well, most of the general maintenance is done at the beginning of the year, or when we close we're up for vacations. We take them to a special shop that's there in St. Augustine. They check from brakes to everything. And the only thing that I do myself is do the oil changes on the vehicles. When there is a big issue, we have a meeting at 10 a.m. today that we bring it up, and we'll get together, let Mr. Kevin know. He approves the repairs. Then we just decided to take it to a shop.
In a touring circus, a breakdown isn't just an inconvenience. It can be a canceled show.
Just regular like oil changes, you know, every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. But sometimes we blow out a tire, a suspension. Most of the vehicles are brand new. So right now we haven't had any issues at all, but just minor things actually right now. You know, something might be driving and hit it in the road and break a windshield or damage the vehicle. So these are minor repairs that we have to do.
And here's something small fleet managers will definitely understand: doing double duty. Because Douglas isn't just coordinating the move, he's driving it.
I'm in charge of the operations, and I do have my CDL. So I'm the one that actually drives that big flatbed with the semi-truck that the circus owns. And we hire another company just to pull that drive-on trailer. We have 2 complete amazing groups. We have a small crew, which help me make sure that everything is in the boxes and ready to go before we start leaving to the next town. 10 minutes before the show actually opens doors to the audience, we always have a meeting. So we let them know what is going to be happening, what are we going to do. And then we have an front of house manager. She's in charge of giving us the routes, where we're going to stop to fill up fuel, continue, you know, like RV dumps, and then just the way that we all have to travel and go to the next town.
Most people only see the finished product, the lights, the tent, and the applause. What they don't see is everything else it took to get here.
A lot of people don't see what all they arrive is. They just see a beautiful tent and a beautiful show inside, but they don't know really what is the hard work. Or sometimes when we have a time frame from when we leave to when we set up and the show starts in the next town, we have to make sure that nothing happens. So we actually, as soon as we arrive to a new location, we make sure that all the vehicles are safe, that we inspect them, we change the oil if need to be, and just make sure that everything is ready to travel.
Circus fleets might be a bit niche, but the lessons definitely aren't.
The difference between the circus and the people who have other fleets is that here is nothing is going to be a regular routine every day. Like you turn on your truck, you drive 8 hours, drop it, give the keys. No, here there's always things that come up, that show up, that actually can stop you from doing that. You know, so sometimes we have to work as a team and just jump over the obstacle that's in front of us. This is a big traveling community, And I consider that we're all family here, so this is a very important part. We all take care of each other here. So this is something very important for me. Teamwork is everything. How I said, you know, it's like I'm the driver. I'm the one that sets this up together with the rest of the performers. So we all come out and we give our best every day to help each other and support each other. So I think this is something very important that sometimes out and maybe in another business, well, you have your colleagues, but it's like not so much as like family, you know? So I think this is something very important.
I fell in love with circus as a kid. Ringling Brothers every time they came to town. Cirque du Soleil whenever I could get a ticket. Years later, I fell in love with Fleet. I've spent more than 19 years telling stories about trucks, technology, and the people who keep everything moving, usually without anyone noticing. And about 11 years ago, I did my own version of running off to join the circus. I climbed into the air for the very first time, learned aerial silks. And for the last decade, I've performed and taught others how to find their passion, even when it feels a little scary. This story sits right at the intersection of everything I love. Because the circus isn't just art, and Fleet isn't just equipment. They're both built on trust, timing, and teamwork. And the understanding that when something goes wrong, everyone steps in. So the next time a circus rolls into town, remember this. The magic doesn't just fly, it drives. And without the Fleet behind it, the show doesn't go on.